Today is going to focus with a lot of props. We're just going to throw in stuff, so the roller, the band, we're going to be using lacrosse ball, tennis ball. I'll always give choices if you don't have any of those things, so don't worry. But it's good to kind of get your kit all set up for if you are going to be regularly online, you want to kind of have all these things in our toolbox, ideally. So we're going to kind of focus around the hips. I'm feeling a little bit stiff myself. I think just this week off, we've done a lot of walking, but not really a lot of self-maintenance. So this is kind of a little bit of self-maintenance for myself and hopefully for you. So we are going to kind of go in and around the hip and then do some mobilizing, some spiraling stuff on the back bit. So I'm feeling very much like I want to get into kind of the back of my leg hamstring. So I just want you to sit yourself up. Now you can either sit in kind of a mermaid sit, you might sit in kind of a farmer sit, whatever feels really good. What I'm going to do is stick the ball, sorry, it's hard to see when I'm lying down. So I'm kind of sitting it kind of between my hamstrings and the side of my leg, okay? So I'm kind of trying to get into the groove kind of between my hamstring and my kind of IT band, and just see how that feels. So I'm kind of midway down the thigh. So see what position feels better for you. Having this leg up might feel better. You could even have like a little graceful side sit position and just kind of dig into that kind of back middle of the leg. So that's kind of hitting a nice spot. I'm going to go a little bit more towards my bum. That's just a bit me. I'm just kind of feeling kind of where I need that release. Oh, there, I got the spot. And I'm kind of trying to dig the ball in between my muscles. Okay, so there's a sheath that comes around every muscle group. And so sometimes you can kind of dig in between the big muscle groups and kind of get the ball in there. Now, if you don't have a ball and you just have a roller, then actually you can play around with just getting that side of the leg on the roller. So you could do a little bit of that. I mean, I have to prop myself up a little bit. Or you might just want to lean against the roller, or you can go into your little roller IT band kind of position, okay? And worst case, find another spot if you don't feel this spot for you. Because everyone's going to be different. Some people are going to be really tight here. Some people might not find much spot at all. You might even go under your hamstrings, maybe more into your glute tissue. So you can lie on your back, have a little explore into the bum. Be kind of instinctive. Now I've been walking around quite a lot today, so I knew exactly kind of where I needed to go today. And I want you guys to start to get a little bit more instinctive about what you need every day. And every day might be different. You've gone on some big walks, then you might find that your feet need it, or around your knees might feel achy, or around your hips. Start to pay attention to the information you're being given day to day, and sometimes we ignore it. Might even be that walking a lot has created tension up in your upper body. So just do a little bit more here. Feel free to go up or down, more towards your knee, maybe more to the outside, maybe more to the inside. We'll just have a bit more play time here. And then we're going to do a little bit of a kind of rotation mermaidy kind of dance. Okay, so we'll explore the other side. And again, just find the sitting position that feels good for you. I'm feeling more like a mermaid on this side for some reason. So it's not too bad on this side compared to the other. I was feeling definitely more, now there I've got a spot. So I'm kind of a little bit more on the outside edge, more towards my IT band a little bit more. So just feel for yourself where that tenderness is. Nice deep breaths. I just want you guys to bring yourself into your space for a moment as you breathe. And I've been practicing this myself, and it might resonate for you, is being present in the moment. So I think in this situation, we can worry about our future. We can maybe stress about what's happened in the past, and to just start the art of living right at the moment you're at, and appreciating what this ball feels like underneath you, okay? Maybe the discomfort, maybe kind of a weird pleasure, maybe just feeling the texture of it, or that you've decided to go for the roller and how that feels, or you've decided to just have a mellow out on the mat. But just kind of take a moment to be in the room, look around you, see what's in front of you, and to really be still. Just do a few more seconds on that. Nice. Okay, so what I'd like you to do is just give yourself some space so that you can move your legs in a spiral position. Your hands are going to be behind you. So your legs are going to be in an open position. And then we're just going to roll, rotate. And then I want you to think of going up with your spine first. So not too much rotation, but just think about lifting. And then roll across the bum, rotate the other way, and just get the sense of lift, a vertical lift up. So maybe you inhale through the middle, and a little exhale to come up, or the other way around. So I just felt inclined to inhale to go up. That feels good for you. Maybe a little exhale as you transition, and a nice little inhale to go vertical. To almost feel like you're lifting out of your legs, okay? So this sense of kind of growing out of your legs. So this time, if you want, you can rotate a little bit more towards the back of the room. If that doesn't feel good, stay vertical. If you're really struggling with these positions, you don't even need to go super far. Maybe hang out here and just roll through your heels. Yeah, let the legs spiral in the hip sockets. And just slowly let yourself go into more movement, okay? You've got to listen to your elastic. If it feels like you want to have a nice big dance around, go for it, yeah? If you want to bring your arms into it. This is the beauty of being at home, isn't it? We can just play within our space. Maybe you even want to kind of go down into a little bit of a flexion or reach to the sky. So kind of go where you feel good. You want to stay in this nice little realm of just tick-tocking the legs. That's awesome too. Okay. So I want you to just pick a leg to take out to the side for me. And that's a comfortable side. So it's not directly out to the side. I've got it on an angle. And I'm just getting this leg nice and comfortable. It may be up here. Okay, so don't worry if it's not flat like mine. I have kind of an over rotation in my hips. So then I could use this leg a little bit to rotate my long leg. Okay, so now I'm going to do that same rotation, but I'm going to focus on the long leg rotating out and rotating in. Okay, so I'm creating this nice little spiral. If you do have the capacity to lower your leg, that's great. So we can add again a little bit more of that rotation. So the only difference is the leg is now straight, but we're still internally, externally. And you can actually add the arm here if you like. If you're holding onto this leg, then you might not want to. Okay, so we're going to internally rotate the arm, externally rotate. Internal, external. Okay, so I'm rotating in, turning the palm up, and I'm actually moving up the mat now. I'm actually off the mat, so that's okay. I'm moving up the carpet. One more, and then release. Nice. I see your beautiful pictures at the bottom. Looks very contemporary dance, you guys. Okay, so go with what feels good. Okay, there might be a lot of restriction there. Move your leg out. Just get the feeling of that other leg now rotating. So I'm rolling on the heel bone, spiraling that leg in. If the leg can go down, fabulous. Maybe it goes up and down, maybe it stays, whatever serves the movement. Feel the leg bone from here spiraling. And then let's add a little bit of a flowing arm. In, and out. And you use a breath that feels good. Okay, if you're not there with the arm, that's totally cool. If you're still trying to just balance yourself, maybe you just do it in a little small range. Okay, so I can still hold onto that leg. So just do 2 more. 1 more. And release. Lovely. So I'm going to go up into the side of my hip here now. So into the TFL, we're going to do some sideline stuff. Okay, if you've got a Franklin ball, then go into there. If you've got your roller, you could just lie a little bit on that side bit. And we're just going to go into kind of a side planky position. If you want to lie perfectly flat, that's absolutely fine. Equally so, if you don't have a spot up here, doesn't feel too tender, go around to the back of your bum, go into the front of the hip maybe. Okay, so you could go into that front crease of the hip. So I'm kind of back at the hip bone into that kind of start of my gluteals. And I'm just doing a little bit of rocking. If you've got like a really sensitive IT band TFL, if actually you're on like a hard floor, actually just rolling forward and back on a hard floor might be enough for you, okay? So if this is like super sharp and almost making your body react in a negative way, then I would say take the ball away and just go like if I was on the hard carpet and just doing a little bit of rolling across that area, okay? So do what serves you best. I think I'm going to do both sides with this before we start going into the sideline, because otherwise we're going to have the side that we're working like already tight, which doesn't really make sense. Okay. I think while we are on this side, what I'd like to do though is take our rollers, which hopefully we all have. And if you don't have a roller, then what you can do is without it, just do a little bit of a side bend. Okay, so in space, just pushing into the air with my forearm on the mat. But if you do have the roller, you can rest it on your rib cage, and you'll find the right spot to do that. And if you can lay your arm down, that's great. We're gonna lift the ribs up to roll the roller towards you. So that's gonna kind of open up this space. And then I'm just gonna let my ribs go back down into the space towards the floor. So inhale my ribs up, going into a little side stretch, and exhale, let the ribs almost fall down into the space. That's giving me a nice little stretch. Let me show you that without. So I'm just going up. You may even want to add a little arm if you're not on the roller. And then I'm letting the ribs kind of drop down into the space. So this is giving me a nice little stretch without the roller as well. Okay? So using the arm, I'm going to do the roller because I feel like I need that little bit of release into my ribs. And also this is going to be a little bit more challenge for your shoulder. Okay, so if you feel that you don't want too much of that shoulder stress, then do the little side plank. Okay, let's do one more. So inhale as you roll over, you're almost lifting those bottom ribs, opening the top ribs, and letting the ribs come back down. Okay, so let's do TFL on the other side. Can't wait to get you on the reformers, those of you that are coming in, and the Cadillac and the chair. It's gonna be nice to feel that, that different quality. I have appreciated the mat for sure though. Coming back to the roots is quite nice. But you realize the limitations of the mat. That's why I always bring in the prop so much. Okay, so just finding that nice little nook. Of course, go into a different area. If you're not feeling this, go into the front, go into the back of the bum, go even by the SI joint, which can be quite a tender spot. Maybe you want to do that more with the Franklin ball or a tennis ball. It's not too hard. Sometimes even if your SI joint is really sore, which mine is today, we're going to do a little bit with it. is to just lie with the roller under your sacrum and just hang out there for a bit. So you're feeling a little bit of kind of compression feeling. Okay, so I'm just rolling a little bit over that area. If there's a particular spot that feels like a little bit ouchy, just stay there and breathe. If you want to lie completely flat, that's fine as well. Remember, if you've got a hard surface, just to roll. You've got like laminate floor or something, you can just shuffle yourself over to. If you're on a carpet, and just roll over that tender area. Okay, so grab your roller or just you with a little side bend. So laying down by your rib cage, and we're going to inhale to roll the roller towards your hip, almost send the other hip away, and then come and drop the ribs down towards the floor or towards your roller. Okay, lifting and arcing. So those of you without the roller, you're creating more space underneath you. And then letting the ribs drop into the space. Now make sure those of you on the arm are not dropping into the shoulder. Okay, so if you're doing this little release, the ribs are dropping down, but not the shoulder collapsing. Okay, that's going to make a big difference. And then the ribs lifting up. You want the arm going up, that's cool. And then let the ribs come down. Okay, so feel what serves you best. Let's do 2 more. Nice big inhale. Exhale up. And over. And exhale up. Nice one. Just let the head do a little bit of movement. I think we neglect the head a bit. So taking it into a little side bend itself and back up. A little side bend and back up. Remind me to do this. I'm going to remind myself because you can't remind me to do this when we do our little side line on the other side, just so we stretch out the neck a little bit. One more, side and up. And then we're going to come on to our side. Okay, so this actually used to be a little warm up for me in dance. So if you can, lay with your arm straight under. If not, it's here. Okay, and we're just going to start with a little tap of the foot forward and back. So tap and back. Now as I go back, my bottom leg wants to lift a little bit, so I'm just going to give it a little bit of kind of a push into the floor, and then try and really feel almost a little active stretch through your quads. So I'm kind of pulling the foot up towards my bum a little bit. So tap, and then just see if you can get a little bit more hip flexion here now. And then here I'm trying to pull my heel towards my bum, get a nice little stretch. And what we want to make sure is we're not hyperextending the low back. So I would say a little bit of 12 here when your leg goes behind you. Keep it still neutral, and then a little bit of 12. Now I just want that leg to go up a little bit. Okay, so we're opening up a bit more. We're getting into a little bit of glute max here. So I want to feel my maximus muscles kind of on as I hold that leg up. And then I want to take it into a little bit of a dorsiflexed, knee down, internal rotation. Okay, so I'm going to point the foot, rotate, try and get my foot towards my bum, and then open the knee a little bit so that you can feel your glute max. And also you're feeling a little stretch down here. And then flex the foot and turn the leg in. Now actually if I try and lift my heel towards the ceiling, I get that nice little stretch kind of around the front of my hip. Point the toe, lift, take it behind. If you can, lift the knee up a little bit, getting that maximus. And now try and get your heel to the floor. Woo! So kind of where I am, I'm trying to put my heel down. Then lift the heel back up, lift, and internally rotate. Foot up, and then point. I'm going to keep my foot pointing so the ball of my foot is on. Rotate, try and get the heel down. So that's hopefully giving everybody a nice little stretch here. Just make sure your core is still on. Okay, now I want it to be in the air. And I want you to just counteract with your hand. So your hand is going to go forward on the mat. And then it's going to go kind of back just a little bit higher in space. Okay, so it's not kind of back here. So you can kind of see it. Reach the hand, kind of like you're cupping the mat. And my toe, sorry, I keep wanting to put it on the floor. If you want to put it on the floor, that's cool. But I want to try and keep it in the air. Whatever breath works. Hold the mat, toe down and toe up. I'm feeling my toe down, so if you're feeling that as well, go for it. Let's now flex the foot and straighten the leg as it goes forward. My arm is behind, maybe palm open, so I'm just opening up the fascia here. I'm also feeling that lovely little fascia stretch in my hamstrings. Oh, that feels really good. And then I'm gonna reach this more up in the air. So straight leg now. Open pecs, hamstrings. Hips, back. Open the palm, arm up, hamstring. So I want you guys to feel that elastic quality. I'm reaching a little bit more, see if I can get into my shoulder blade a little bit, maybe even into the obliques a little bit. I'm going to take my head down for that. And back. Remember, not too low that it feels yucky. That's interesting. I want my head up here for this one, but I want my head down for this one. So do as I do if that feels good. So I'm almost turning my face to the mat. Now let's add a little bit of head rotation. So head looking down, head looking up. Oh, that feels lush. Head looking down, head looking up. One more of each. Lovely. Ooh, that felt nice. Now I feel like one side is really warmed up and juicy. I haven't forgot about that little head movement. So if you were on the roller doing that little side bend, we just added a little bit of just a head stretch and up. If you're doing it on your little kind of pseudo plank, so just get yourself there. And I just want to see if you can isolate the head. So side bend, and that gives a nice little opener of the neck, but also works the neck. I think we need to stretch it all the time, but actually I think it needs a little bit of strengthening as well. I almost want to feel like I'm resisting gravity a little bit to pull it back up. So imagine there's like a little flex band around your head like this. Okay? Yeah, if I was like that and pulling it back up, it's really graceful, that. Okay, little head bend and up. One more. Head stretch and up. Good. Now hopefully I remember the sequence I did. We started with toe tapping first. Get your arm ready, comfy, whatever feels good for your upper body. Okay, so we started with a little toe tap and a little toe tap. We're just kind of getting the movement in the hip first, front and back. So that's what I want to start with. And just get my leg in the right position underneath here that I can counterbalance. As the leg goes back, I'm pushing a little bit into the floor so that my knee doesn't lift up. Okay, so now at the back, we're just going to add that little bit of spiraling open. Oh, my glute max isn't as strong on this side. I don't feel it as much. Okay, then I'm going to come into flexed foot and turn in. And see if I can kind of try and get my foot towards the sky as my thigh rotates down. Point the foot and spiral. Turn out the leg. I know some of you won't have this range of movement. Don't force it and try and keep your pelvis from moving. So if you're not sure if your pelvis is moving, put your hand on your hip bone, your crest, and see if you can just move the leg. So even if you're down here, but you kind of really feel that work in your gluteus, that's fab. So you guys might be more flexible here. Those of you that aren't that flexible here, okay? Everyone has different abilities. Okay, now this time as you go back to the back, I've got my toe on the floor. I'm going to try and get my heel down and try and get my heel kind of close to my bum. I went a little bit too close and I can't get my heel down. Okay, now this side of my pelvis wants to rotate back. I was just conscious of that, so just check in that it is happening in your hips. I'm going to turn out, have the toe on the floor, try and get my heel down. If there's any discomfort in the knee, maybe adjust how close your heel is to your bum. Wow, that feels so different than the other side. And in and out. So we rotate it first, find the maximus, and then try and get your heel down. And in and out. Wow, my heel went down like so easy on the other side. I don't know if I've just got my foot closer to my bum now, but I can't get my heel down. So notice that for yourself if that feels really different. Oh, one more. Or if you want to do more, that feels good, like something you want to achieve. That's cool. If everyone's going, oh, this is easy, I don't know what she's on about, then enjoy the next bit. Okay, so now we're going to float it in the air, back and forth. You might want to go down with your arm, just kind of find what you need. Okay, so we started just adding like a little cup of the hand as the leg goes back, and the start of our little pec reach. And cup the hand. So my leg is still bent for now. I'm just starting to just kind of feel where my head wants to be. Okay, so now we're going to add the straight leg. So straight leg, pec opener, hamstring. I want to feel that nice elastic. Leg in the socket. Try not to let the arm just hang in no man's land. Okay, and then you're going to reach forward. If you want to extend the underarm, that's cool. So flex, pecs, flex and pecs, hamstrings, hips. So deep abdominals here so that you're not flinging it back too much. You could actually take your leg a little bit higher if you like. See what feels good. Yes, if I let my arm go too low, it doesn't feel good. This arm feels different on this side as well. You can turn your head to the sky now as you're doing this one. Turn your head to the floor. Turn your head to the sky. Oh. Turn your head to the floor. And one more. And release. Nice. On the theme of the legs, we're going to come onto your front. And we're going to try and do a little bit of reaching the leg around, okay? And actually, it felt kind of good to be slightly propped up. So if you want to go here, that's cool. If you're feeling a little bit in your back, then I would come down to the floor and be completely flat with your head, okay? So I'm just going to see how this feels. So I want you to take your right leg and kind of brush it along the mat just a little bit. So I don't want my quads to be tight here. So I want you to let go of your knees. Okay, let them just be mushy. You might go, oh my gosh, then everything goes mushy. Okay, that's fine. So then just activate your belly just a little bit, but not your knees. Okay, so let your knees be soft. Now I'm going to brush that right leg. And my right elbow immediately feels heavy, so that's fine. My head's going to go down a little bit because I feel like I don't want to be too high with my head, and I'm going to spiral that leg around. And then come back. Okay, so if you feel you want to be on the floor, that's cool. If you want to be slightly up. I find if we're a little bit too up, it goes into the back. Okay, so just be really careful. So then left leg. Now my left elbow feels heavy as I bring it across. And just notice if it feels more labored. It feels harder. You might even want to bend the bottom leg. Just see where it goes. Where does it feel like you're still in the elastic and it's not just like flopping back there? Okay, is that nice and steady? It doesn't have to be super fast. I'm just really trying to find space in my joints, especially around my hip. Notice your feet. Are your feet tensing? Let them go.
Your knees, are they squeezing? Let them go. And focus up in your hip. See how that is. If it's feeling like you're going into your low back, just ease it down. Maybe go a little bit lower, maybe try and skim the ground. Just kind of play with your levels. You don't have to reach it as far as me. You might only go a little bit, and that's really opening up your hip, so don't worry. Okay, come back to center. Have a little wiggle again. Soften your knees so they're not tense. They're just kind of mushing. And almost let everything go mushy a bit. And then just pick up your lower belly gently. Pick up where your ribs are on the mat, so your bottom ribs kind of collect. And then just keep your hands in the halo and keeping those kind of 2 points just lightly connected. See how much your upper back moves. Okay? See how strained it feels. So I might want to send my legs down just a little bit, get into the crease of my hips, maybe check, is my deep belly on? Not really, so could I pick it up a little bit, but not too strong? What about those bottom ribs? Could I hug them up? And that's about as far as I can go in my upper back. Inhale, soften the knees, and then lengthen through the front. So it's kind of like a wave going up, peeling my chest towards the front of the room, but still trying to feel like my upper body is going that way, my legs are going down the other way. With my feet soft and my knees soft, really hard. So the inner thighs can be more connected, like from your inner groin down, that's quite helpful. And down. I always do a little wiggle, check your sacrum. Is it going, tensing? Also, is your tushy soft? Okay, if your tushy is like going rock solid, your knees are probably solid, your quads are solid, and probably your toes are solid. So soften it all, then go up to here, and have the arms here now. That might be better or worse. For me, that's worse, because my shoulders start pinching together. So I find this position for me allows more movement, but this position for some of you might allow more movement. Okay, so pick which one is serving you better. Okay, just do one more. Soften those knees, crease of the leg, check your bottom. Okay, deep belly, bottom ribs, just a little bit. They just hug. It's so that I don't let go of the ribs and then I go hyperextended into my low back. Pushing the mat away a little bit. Okay, so now I want you to bring your hands to here. Okay, so our little grasshopper position. And I want you to just retract and relax your shoulder blades. So retract them together, relax. I'm going to come to the camera so you can kind of see what I'm doing. So a lot of people will go down and then together. I don't want you to go down. I want you to just go back. Okay, so it should feel actually quite easy if we're open through here, that is. Okay, so if we're really restricted in this fascia here, then we're kind of not going to go anywhere. So keep that in mind, that if you are really tight here, we need to do some releasing here. But see if you can just bring the shoulders together, and they're going to feel like they're coming together near the top. So it shouldn't feel like you're kind of squeezing them down here. It should be kind of more at the top, okay? Not like right in your neck, but more kind of the second to fourth vertebrae. Okay, so I'm going to keep that retraction, belly on, ribs connected. Now, keeping that little bit of retraction, peel the spine forward now. Try not to do too much with your head. So if you feel like your chest is looking a little bit forward, but your eyes are really looking forward, then you might need to just come down with your head a little bit. I do like my eyeballs looking up. So as my eyeballs look up, my chest actually goes up a little bit more. And then come down. Knees, crease of the leg, Okay, now retract the shoulder blades gently, not dropping them down, just together. Okay, now lengthen. So I hug the bottom ribs up a little bit, my deep belly, and extend. So that went a little bit further that time. And then back. I'm just feeling my elastic. So feel here, okay, almost like the pubic bone retracts, the belly retracts, and my rib cage retracts. If this kind of flares down to the floor, that's when we start having hyperextension. So you almost need to hug that back and then make sure the movement is happening more here. Boom, okay, so you're lengthening that. Okay, so each time you go, you might find that you just pause a little bit, go a little bit further, eyeballs up. Then the last part, if we're there, is it's okay, it's kind of easy. If it's not easy, just stay with that lower one, okay? I don't want you to feel all strained and stressed. Check your toes, walk them out, check your knees. Okay, deep belly, so our lower abdominals just collect, the bottom ribs collect, and then I move like a beautiful elastic tube. Eyeballs go up, that helps. Okay, I feel my shoulders, but they're not dropping down because that pulls me into my back. So I actually keep them quite high so that I can work with my spine in the right way. And down. Now there's a little bit of press into the knees as I go up, okay, but I'll tell you kind of when. So we go and eyeballs up, and then I kind of press down into my knees a little bit as I get to the top. So the knees are, because if I don't press into my knees, I sag. So press into the knees a little bit, and you're almost feeling like a plank position, and then come back through your arms. Okay, one more time. So Peel, take your time, even if you just go a little bit. Check your shoulders, are they dropping down? Don't let them drop, just let them come together. Then we go a little bit, eyeballs. Press into the knees, lift the belly, and then come into a nice little shell. You can have the legs open if you like. You can have the toes down, whatever feels nice for you. Kind of settle into the position like you're a turtle. Okay, your legs are underneath you, and you can bend your arms like I am. And your spine is this lovely shell that's wrapping over you. If it's too much in your knees, just come to a cat stretch, that's fine. So I'm wanting to get my legs kind of in my hips. And then come back up and tuck the toes, bring the knees right underneath your hips, come into your quadruped. Let everything kind of hang, so the shoulder blades collapse, the ribs collapse, and let your belly drop, okay? Accept that feeling, okay? Then I want you to retract the belly up, and you might need to push into the ground a little bit to lift the ribs up, so this part retracts, and then to feel your shoulder blades coming a little bit more apart. So I've got lower belly, it feels like lower belly, but it goes all the way up to my ribs. And I don't want to push so much apart that I'm going into flexion of the spine. So the spine should be neutral. Okay, do that again. So I'm going to let the shoulder blades retract, let the rib cage drop, let my belly drop, let it let go. I want you to feel the difference. Okay, now retract to the belly. You see, if I just do that, I don't change anything. Okay, then I'm going to retract, push the mat away and bring the rib cage up. So I'm thinking of pulling that so that they're kind of connected to each other now. And then spread the shoulder blades apart, lengthen. Check if you're too rounded, come into a little bit more softening there. Okay, now spread the hands, take a big deep breath in. Push the mat forward with your hands and back with your feet, hover. Inhale back down. Push the mat forward. Keep that position. Now, did you lose your belly, your ribs, or your shoulders in this process? Okay, so often what happens is we let go of the belly or the ribs and we come up, or we push too much through the shoulders. So keep belly, ribs, nice supported shoulders, hover. Okay, we'll just do one more. You can come back a little bit. Come back over, decompress, one more time, hover, and release. Nice. Let's just do a little pendiculation. And I'm going to do a little kind of bum exercise here. It's not Pilates, but most of what I do is not Pilates anyways. So we're going to take one leg behind, you decide. So I'm going to take my left leg behind just so you can see. And the opposite arm is going to come down to the floor. Okay, so if I've got my left leg, I'm going to have my right arm on the floor, and obviously the opposite way. So I'm slightly supporting myself on my forearm so it doesn't feel so much on the wrist. Now, as I'm here, I'm actually already starting to feel my right glute working just by being here. Okay, now I'm going to lift the leg a little bit, and I don't want to lift it too high that it changes my spine. So I'm just lifting a little bit to where I feel my glutes, okay, but I haven't let go of my belly. So just come back down. So I need a little retraction of my belly as the leg goes up. Okay, so I'm hugging my belly up as the leg comes up. And I'm just finding my glutes there. So I want to feel like there's action there. I'm not squeezing them, but I'm getting to the point where I can feel that position. Okay, from there, you're going to circle the leg towards your knee. If it touches it, great. If it doesn't, that's fine. And then as you come back, you're going to straighten your arm up. Okay, so now as the leg goes back. So as I circle around, my elbow is going to come down. As I come back up. So the hand might have to change its position a little bit. Okay, so go down, knee bent. And I'm going towards my knee. And then I come up and I want to feel the glutes. So I don't want to have that saggy belly and saggy leg. So arm goes down, leg goes in. Now it's about probably 5 or 6. And now I can feel my right glute. So I can feel my supporting gluteus working almost more than the one that's circling around. So if you feel that, that is correct. Keep checking your belly. So now it's starting to feel a little bit harder. And try not to over dance my foot and to not squeeze my knee. Focusing around my hip. It's really burning now. We're going to do a few more. I wanted to get to about 15. I have no idea. I think we're probably at about 12, I would guess. So if you've done it faster than me, sorry. 3 more. It's really burning on my right side. 2. 1. Oh! And then just lean your hip over on the side that's working. So my right side was working. I'm reaching my bum over to the right. Whew. Give me a thumbs up if you felt that. Yeah. Okay, we got to do the other side, of course. So come around. And what I just want you to do is get that elbow down, kind of comfy, and get your leg back behind. And then just come up into that balance. And just check in. Now, we worked the leg that's down there. Okay, so it's going to be even more fatigued. So I'll try not to take too long here. Okay, soft foot, soft knee. It's not that it's a floppy knee, but it's not a tense knee. Okay, here we go. We circle it around, and then we come up onto the hand. Not too high. Check this, okay? Always this when we come back to center. And up. 3. Doesn't matter if it doesn't touch your elbow.
Okay, just come around to where you can. 6. I'm gonna try and go to 15. So if you're counting on your own and you're a little bit faster or slower than me, I'm trying not to do it too fast. So I want to be really clear where I am. 9. That's 10, I think, for me. 5 more. Oh, burning now. 4 and 3. 2 and 1. And release. Let's roll up. So in the spirit of some of you who were wanting to do some foot stuff, we're going to stand up. Oh, can feel my bum. But it feels good. Okay, so hopefully you all have some form of ball, even if you have like a stone, that might be a little bit hard, from your back garden, or something relatively hard like a rolling pin. Something like that would be really good. A golf ball. I'm trying to think what else. Pieces of Lego. Might not be that nice. So whatever the surface is, even if you've got the Franklin ball is nice. I find people are kind of relying on it all the time. I'm just doing a press release into the feet. And what I want you to try and do with the supporting leg is just be fairly relaxed. So try not to be really rigid on your standing leg. Just allow that nice little press. I'm not going in any particular way. I'm just kind of feeling and exploring. I'm just letting my feet absorb that surface. Maybe a little bit in your heel, so I can put my foot down and just, my toes down and just press into the heel a little bit. Just see how that feels, how cushiony it is. Maybe it might feel a little bit sore. Okay, do a bit on the other side. Notice if that foot is a little bit more tender. It's always nice to do feet. It never gets boring, I think, the feet. There are always some zones we can work on. Yeah, if you kind of have a rolling pin, then obviously you just go slowly down the foot, maybe from the pads of the toes down towards the heel. Yeah, any sort of, even if it's like a really like wobbly surface and it's not like perfect like a ball, sometimes that's actually quite good as well. Okay. So then stand with your feet underneath your hips and appreciate that when we have the feet parallel, they're not turned out, they're almost more turned in. If you've got a head block or a book, the side of your foot actually should line up with the block. So for some of you, it'll feel like your feet are turned in, okay? Or if you've got like a line on your carpet, even if, or you went to the edge of your mat and just kind of check in, it'll feel for most of you like your feet are turned in, okay? But bear with me while you do this, okay? So with the feet kind of feeling turned in, but the edges of the feet lined up, we're going to roll up onto the big toe. So that we're rolling up, connecting the inner thighs. If we're going off to the baby toe, we're just going to lower the heels a little bit. We're just going to see if we can hang out there for kind of a few seconds. Being on the big toe. Yeah, I was there for a bit and then I kind of came down. Check if your knees are really tense. Let go of your knees, see what happens. See what else you have to connect with. You might have to go a little bit 12. You might have to connect with your inner thighs. Your quads might be trying to hold you up and not very well. So just have a little and then come down. Okay, so you can hang out there as long as you feel. You might just be going up and then coming straight back down again. That's totally cool. But I want to see if you can start to feel the point of balance for you. So if my heels go too high, I start going out to the side. So I'm just going conservatively up. Little bit of 12. Feeling like I'm rolling in the big toes. Checking out my knees. My knees want to tense when I do this. If I untense my knees and feel a little bit more 12 with my pelvis, I get that balance point and then roll back down, okay? Maybe you can kind of see from the side. So rolling up, hanging out there, big toes, little bit of 12, come down with your heels. Even if the heels are only a little bit off the ground, but you've got your big toe on the floor, the pad of your big toe, I mean, sometimes people get confused about this part of the toe or this part of the toe. It's this big pad, okay? So I want that really secure on the floor, okay? Then come back down. Okay, now you're gonna try and do a little bit of a different tempo. So we're gonna go slow, up, 2, 3, 4, and down, taking all your time together. And then don't actually put your heels like slam down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, down, 2, 3, 4. Notice how I'm not going super high. 2, 3, 4, down, 2, 3, 4. Go for 2, 2, down, 2, up, 2, check your knees, 2, up, 2, down, 2, up. I can feel it all up my leg. Let's try and go once. Woo, it's a bit harder. 3, I'm just tapping the floor with my heels. 5, 6, calves should be burning. 7, and 8, bend the knees. So you should have felt your calves maybe up into your hamstrings a little bit. Let's bend the knees. But don't force the knees forward, okay? So can we have a little bit of feeling like the femurs are being sucked back up into your hips rather than the femurs pushing forward into your knees? So find that balance point. You want your feet a little bit further apart, that's cool. Belly retracted, ribs retracted. So that's about as far as I can go here. But if I let my pelvis go back in space, and I feel more of my heels, and I sink slowly, and I have my hands forward because it's kind of for counterbalance. You can have your arms up here. And just see if you can sit even just a fraction more down. And then come all the way back up, nice standing posture. So I'm gonna bend kind of ankles and hips, okay? I'm checking that I'm not thrusting my femurs into my knee. I'm drawing them backwards into my hips. That's the sensation I'm having. So there's very little pressure forward. Even though my knees are going forward, the pressure isn't forward. That makes any sense. Okay, because I have the relationship between my hips, my ankles, and my knees. I don't have just knees. Okay, now I'm going to sit back into the heels. Put the hands wherever, just slowly. I'm going to find that point where I almost feel like I'm going to fall backwards. And then I'm going to sit down into that. The sit bones might open a little bit. Want to make sure I'm not punching here, that I'm keeping length here. And then push back up. We'll just do that one more time. So bend, have the relationship between hip, knees, and ankles. Okay, is your weight thrusting to your knees? Can you bring it back out of your knees into your hips? Okay, feel like someone's taking your femurs and shoving them this way into your hips. I know that sounds really bad, but that's the idea. Now sink into your heels. Feel the point where you feel like you're going to fall back. Imagine there's a chair there. Okay, really let the fascia of the back of your legs hold you. Really give to it. Like you're sitting into a hammock, and the hammock is your hamstrings. And back up.
Oh, I would do more if we had time, but we don't have time. Take a nice breath in, up, interlace the hands. You can go here or here, but try and get the feeling of your waist lifting. Okay, soften your knees so we're not tight and kind of hyperextended, but send your shins down and over. Inhale up, send your shins down and over and up. Send your belly up, your shins down. Knees are stable, but they're not locked, okay? They're stable. Nice. And release. And thank you. Hopefully that felt good. Nice.